There is no such thing as a lazy person. Only people with impotent goals. What I want to talk about today is why you don't have the motivation that you want, how to get it back, or how to increase your motivation overall towards your goals. I have so many clients that come to me who are telling me like, hey, like I have these goals, but the problem is I just can never get the motivation to follow through with them. Or I have people that know me personally and they ask like, Sean, how is it that you keep so much motivation towards the things that you want to do? You always seem like you're just like going at it, just really like kind of crushing it. What I want to talk about is what are the underlying components to creating motivation, and not only creating it, but like having lasting motivation, and how do you amplify that motivation? Because for most of us, what's really keeping us from obtaining what we want in life, from achieving what we want, is a lack of motivation. We know we should be doing things, but yet we just can't get ourselves to do them. So I'm going to talk about the 3 things that are the most important components to creating this, and the 3 things that I find that really are setting people back from really getting what they want out of life. So the very first one is you need to make sure that your goals are your goals. Now, what does that mean? I cannot tell you how many times I've worked with clients, how many times I talk with people to help them, and I start to realize that their actual goals are not truly their goals. They're pursuing things that they truly do not care about. And so one of the first things that you got to ask yourself, and you got to get real with yourself with this, is what you're trying to achieve something that you truly care about? Or are you trying to pursue something that you feel you should care about because maybe your parents told you that this is important, maybe society has told you this is important, maybe you just for some reason feel like you should actually care about this, and so you are setting these goals like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get motivated to do it. If you don't truly care about what it is that you're pursuing, I can promise you there is no tactic or strategy that is going to keep you with lasting motivation towards the things that you want to achieve in that realm. It's just not possible. If you don't care about it, there's nothing that's going to keep you going. It's not going to keep pushing you. So you need to sit and analyze, like, why am I trying to obtain this goal? Is it because society has told me? Is it because my parents told me this? Is it because I feel like I should? And understand this. Every single thing that we do in life, everything that we try to achieve and obtain is because we're trying to get a certain feeling from that. Nobody pursues a goal to actually obtain the goal. They pursue the goal because of a feeling they think they're going to have in order when they actually obtain it. What do I mean by that? Let's take finances for an example, because I get a lot of people that ask me about money and how to achieve a certain level, and it's like, what is your goal financially? Let's say your goal is to obtain and make $100,000 a year, or to have $1 million in the bank. Your actual goal is not to have $100,000 a year or to obtain $1 million in the bank. That's not your real goal. Your real goal is a feeling that you think you're going to have once you finally have it. What does that $100,000, what does that $1 million represent to you? Maybe it's that you say, hey, like, because I'll finally stop stressing about money. Maybe it means financial freedom. Maybe it means a better life for your family. A whole myriad of things. But the actual $100,000 a year, the actual $1 million in the bank, that's not the actual goal. You're just trying to achieve a feeling that you think you're going to have once you obtain that. And so one of the things I work on with my clients when we're figuring out if their goals are actually their real goals is, what are the feelings that you're wanting out of this goal? Why are you truly pursuing this particular goal if it is your real goal? And if we find that it's not their real goal, and we discover the feelings that they're wanting to get, the reasons behind it, then we can find a different vehicle that they actually do care about to get that same feeling that will allow them to actually have motivation because they actually do care about this particular thing. So make sure your goal, number 1, is your real goal. Number 2, make sure your goal is big enough. I can't tell you how many times I get people who are not motivated, and I'm like, well, no wonder you're not motivated. Your goals are too small. 99% of people have goals that are too small. Your goal should be so large that when you sit and think about it, you can't help but get yourself going and moving. So whatever your goal is, double it. Multiply it by 5, 10 times it, maybe even 100 times your goal. So if your goal is to make $50,000 a year, make it $100,000 a year. Make it $500,000, make it $1 million a year goal. Your goal should be so large that you are truly inspired by it. Nobody is motivated by maintenance in life. Maintenance is not motivating. My whole goal is to say, well, I just need to get the bills paid and I'll be good. That's not motivating. Like, how is that truly changing your life? All you're doing is coasting. No one is going to have lasting motivation when their primary goal is to just maintain. Your goal should be large. It should be impactful. How are you changing society? How are you changing your life and those around you? Those are questions that you should be asking. How do you amp it up a couple levels so it really, truly inspires you? That's one reason why so many people lack motivation, is because when we're young, we do this very well. When someone asks you when you're a little kid, like, what do you want? You're like, I want $1 million gazillion, and I want a plane and a jet, and I want to have big muscles, and I want to, they start listing all these crazy, extravagant things. You're like, what in the world? Like, this is crazy. And as we get older, we're taught to become realistic. We're taught to stop dreaming, and we're taught to become real with what is possible. And we say, hey, no, the goal is not to make $1 million a year. You should be happy, finding a good, stable job and make $40,000 to $60,000 a year and get the bills paid and hopefully have a family that you can, coast by and support. Maybe one day you get to retire. It'd be great. How is that inspiring? No one is going to be motivated by that. No one is motivated by basic level maintenance. So make sure that you get rid of that realism and get back to your childhood self. Really ask yourself, if you could have anything, what would it be? And get crazy with it. If you want a personal chef and a jet, write it down, list it. If you want to make $10 million a year, put it down. If you want to own 1,000 apartment buildings, put it down. If you want to have 5% body fat, even if you've always been large your whole life, put it down. I don't care what it is. Get crazy with it and get unrealistic. So make sure your goals are 10 times what they are. The third thing I find is this, is that you need to have a better story. You need to change the focus on your strategies. So once we sit down, we determine what your real goals are, and we determine a 10 times inspiring goal for you, and you set that goal, the next thing is you got to develop a strategy. Because if all you do is set massive goals without a strategy, now you're just a dreamer. You're a wisher. If you're going to turn your wishes into goals, there needs to be a strategy behind those goals. But one of the things you need to make sure of is that your strategy is also inspiring and motivating. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say your goal is to lose weight. So I have a client, let's say they come to me and they're like, hey, I really need to lose weight. And we determine that this is their real goal, okay? So they truly do want to lose weight. And we determine a number that actually really moves them. So maybe originally it's like, if I could just lose a couple pounds, because people try to like play it easy. Like, I'd like to lose a couple pounds. Like, no, let's lose 20. And they're like, wow, that would be amazing. So we determine that number. And then we develop a strategy. Well, the problem is that most people's strategies are not inspiring, because now they're saying like, okay, well, if I'm going to lose weight, I guess I'll cut out all the carbs, and I'm not going to eat any more cookies and sweets, and I'm going to get rid of the potato chips and no soda and no junk food. I'm going to eat all clean, healthy. Well, how is that inspiring either? Now all you've done is just you've created a goal that does inspire you, but now you've created a strategy that just gives you a bunch of things that you can't have. Like, and odds are, if you're cutting out carbs and sugars and cookies and all that stuff, is that you really do like those things. So that's not inspiring. Now you've deflated yourself. You're not inspired by your strategy. What if your focus of that goal is, hey, I'm going to find a way of getting myself to lose 20 pounds, because by losing 20 pounds, I'm going to be back in the same weight I was when I was in college, and my self-esteem is going to skyrocket. I'm going to have twice the amount of energy, and that kind of energy is going to allow me to focus even more on my kids. And it's going to allow me to focus more on my family. It's going to allow me to focus even more on my business, my side hustle, so that I can really push through and crush it. Because right now, I just don't have the kind of energy. That is an inspiring story, and that's an inspiring strategy. So yes, maybe you do have to figure out how to cut your calories down, because at the end of the day, to lose weight, you have to cut your calories down. But your primary focus isn't like, I'm going to eat no carbs, no sugar, no cookies. It's like, hey, I'm going to get back to my goal, my weight I was when I felt alive. I'm going to get back to a fighting weight. Maybe your goal is a financial goal and you're like, I'm going to start saving money. And now all of a sudden you're telling yourself, oh, well, I'm not going to eat out anymore and I'm not going to spend money on things I enjoy. Well, that's not exciting either. So what if it's saying like, hey, I'm going to find a way of cutting my bills, because by doing so, I'm going to begin saving money. And by saving, I'm going to have a realm of passive income that I can invest in, so that later on I can get back to buying things and purchasing things that I want and move forward. Make sure that your strategy and your story is inspiring to you, and that you're not focusing on things that you're not going to get, but you're focusing on things that you are going to obtain. But that's it. People who are lacking motivation, it's just because of those three things. Either your goals are not your real goals, your goals are not big enough, or your strategies are not inspiring. But I hope this helps you. Make sure you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. If this really motivated you, if this really moved you in a certain way, I really want to make sure that I continue to provide more content. So if you really like this video, hit that subscription button, because I'm going to be posting a lot of videos on how to build wealth, how to create it, how to really bring yourself to another level. Also, share this video, hit that notification button if you can, and I cannot wait to see you crush it. Also, leave comments, any questions that you have with any part. Maybe you're lacking the motivation. Maybe, some of this made sense, but you're still a little confused on certain things. Leave a comment below. Ask questions on things that you don't understand yet. Maybe something you need help with. Also, maybe you're crushing it in certain areas. Leave a comment below on what you're doing to get lasting motivation. Maybe you're someone who kills it. You're one of those people who are just always motivated. And people are always asking you, how do you get motivation? Leave it below. Leave some of your tips and strategies. I want this to be a community for people to share what they do to help each other out. But until then, make sure you crush it, and we'll talk to you then.